Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. It is June 18th, 2019, and it's 9:03 a.m. This video is going to be what self-denial can do to a person. I am motivated to do this video based on a video that I was watching a moment ago on YouTube. It really made me feel intense anger at the video, the the person who did the video. I would not say who did the video or even the title of the video, but the video was executed very well, but the message I got out of it was about self-denial, and that self-denial can make you sick, physically sick, could have you hospitalized. And this person was hospitalized. And everything about the whole video, it 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 avoids discussing certain things. And I think why this upset me so much was because of my life growing up and the self-denial slash self-hatred that I had for myself growing up. This YouTuber did a video, like a Draw My Life video. A Draw My Life video is a video that explains in picture form about someone's life. It usually goes from their childhood and up to where they live now. It's like an exploration and explaining who they are now. And on the surface of this very brief video, it was a very cute video. It was cute, nicely done, very brief, fast-paced, but my mind is analyzing it. And there was an expectancy by watching this video. The only thing that I will share about this YouTuber, that this YouTuber is a black person of African heritage. And I'm not going to even give the name of the country in Africa where this person's mother was from. Well, I have to even back up with that. They don't specify that the mother and or father was born there. See, that's another issue. If you're going to if you're going to do a video, a Draw My Life video, then discuss those topics. It's like you want to make a sandwich. You're giving the bread, but not the meat inside. Okay, and if you're vegan, okay, not the lettuce that's inside. So I think part of that is what was getting me a little frazzled. Like you're watching this, and maybe my expectancy, because this person is a black person, and then I am also a black person, that I was waiting for the person to share that particular part, that commonality. But it was all avoided. And it was the avoidance in the Draw My Life video that it wasn't there. So he comes from a small family. He has a sibling. And he avoids specifying where he's from. Yes, he was born in the UK, but where is his mother or father from? That's avoided. And then he mentions that, he had a good childhood. He enjoyed where he lived. He mentioned all the idealisms of his childhood. And then he mentions that his mother wanted his kids to go to a particular country in Africa for 1 year. But he doesn't explain why. And my assumption is the mother wanted them to know where they come from. It is obvious he's a man of Africa. He does not look biracial or anything like that. He looks like a pure-blooded African, which is nothing wrong with that. But you imagine if someone has direct roots from a particular country, no matter what part of the world, that you're going to mention, because it makes a big part of you. And the person looks like they could be around my age. They could even be older. So there are certain things that were going on at a particular time when this move happened. Okay, so the racial climate in the UK was intense. So all that, it's not mentioned. So he's living an ideal lifestyle in the UK, but he's not mentioned about his interaction with the white people there in the UK. It's as if it doesn't exist, like his race doesn't exist. And I know for me, living in the United States, in New York City, that there is a racial climate, something you cannot avoid, and especially if you're a black man, black male in Europe, you're going to notice that who you are in relationship to being around a white male and a white female. You're going to feel and hear things directed towards you, unless he lived in an all African community. And I would tend to doubt that to some part because he seemed very disconnected to his African heritage. So he mentions that he goes to the country, I presume, where his mother is from. And again, why doesn't he make mention where his mother's from and why that specific country? So again, it is an avoidance of heritage and identity, in my opinion. So you don't hear anything about his father. So either the father had died or whatever, but it's no mention. Also, when he arrives in the country it's in West Africa where he went to. He did go with his sibling, and of course he's going to feel it's going to be some type of culture shock because again he physically never been to that place before. So there was a feeling of isolation, he mentioned, and that he had family there, but he didn't acquire friends. And he would console himself by singing songs from Europe, from European people there, and how he longed for food from the UK. Now I can understand that you only could really long for something that you're accustomed to. But it had me really thinking about what his mother did not do for her kids. Now, yes, the mother worked. the mother had different occupations, and the mother did have them live in a large home. But it seemed like, I guess sometimes when parents leave their homeland, they're not about, they're about survival. They're about putting food on the table, having, make sure their children are safe. What any parent would want for their kids. But there was no training about the homeland. There was no introduction, like a pre-introduction. Okay, I'm going to send you back to a short time. I want you to know your roots, but that's not even said. At least he's not saying it in the video. So there, evidently, the mother did not cook any foods from her homeland because everything is foreign to him. So I wonder why. And again, maybe the mother wanted the children to be Europeanized. If the country was that good where they came from, they wouldn't have to leave. So if something is painful to you, you leave. This new country embraces you, then yes, you embrace them. Okay? Then it seemed like at one point they started to enjoy their new environment. And then the YouTuber mentions that there was a coup in that country, and so they had to return back to the UK. But this coming back, again, the mother's plan was 1 year. He doesn't specify whether he actually stayed there for 1 year, but the mother's plan was for 1 year and come back. But it by assumption that when they said the coup occurred, that the coup shortened their trip, and so they were forced to go back to the UK. But this coming back to the UK, for whatever reason, they said that they could not cope. He couldn't relate to anything for a while, even though he was going to college and everything, and he had to be hospitalized due to stress. What was this? What was this stress? He doesn't specify specifically about what the stress was. Was the stress being called names, racial slurs, or was it just the institutions, the types of the lifestyle, the buildings, all things like that. What I can share about myself is that I had briefly left the U.S. mainland one particular time. I left twice, no, 3 times. One when I went to the military, another time when I went to the Caribbean and lived there for about 3.5 years, and then another time I was away for 3 years in Maui. And when it was the last time when I returned back from Maui, it was a little shorter than 3 years stay there, I felt like a culture shock. I had gone to this particular store, and it was a very large department store that I had been there before, but I felt overwhelmed. It was a lot of people dressed in ways that were very freakish. I remember when I left the department store, I started to cry. But the good note, though, is that I overcame it, and in fact, I wind up getting a job at that same store that I cried at. So yeah, I could see that someone could leave their home and then come back, and he was there, I would presume, less than a year, and then I was over there for, the place where I went for about 3 years. But either way, culture shock is culture shock. But what I found, like, what what was interesting was, okay, he used wisdom though to help himself get back on the swing. He started reading self-help, self, I'm sorry, self-help books. And these books were written by Eastern Europeans. At least the surname was an Eastern European sounding name. And he said that he traveled to this this country in South America, and it really encouraged him, this South American trip. This particular place in South America does have a very large black population, but he doesn't go, surprisingly, he doesn't go back to Africa to visit, to encourage him. So again, I felt that, okay, if a country though, and if that country is still under social unrest, because it did have a coup, so I can understand for him not to return to there. But he does go to a South American country, and it said it really encouraged him. So I asked myself in all this, everything about it just sounds that he's not embracing his own nation or the culture that he comes from to build himself up, but a foreign place. And it's he's never acknowledging that heritage, the love of his country, the love of his mother's ancestry. It's just very confusing. And when I was watching the video, I started to understand, come to an understanding. Where I live, you have many, many nationals. And there's a particular, we have a very large Hispanic population here. And the Hispanic nations from the Caribbean, in particular, that the mothers make sure that they teach their children their language. They introduce them to their foods. And so I understand now that, see, for your children to survive in the U.S., in a very racialistic country, a country historically that has a innate hatred to people of African origins. And so I understand now the importance to fortify your children to love that culture, that heritage, that language as a tool to act as a shield of protection of their identity, whatever what your identity is. So that when they go out there, that identity precedes them. It goes forth first. And that's what people see. And with this other YouTuber that I'm mentioning, that's really never done. But they did acquire other cultures' identity to help build them up. But it's never mentioned. It's like I'll get an artificial patch, something that's like, but not that true identity. And so it's like a denial. And I'm wondering whether the the hospitalization that he come from, that he experienced, is that really that was his own body, his own psyche really trying to awaken him? Hey, you need to start embracing yourself. Stop running away from yourself. Stop running away who you are, black man. Stop running away from yourself, African man. You need to start embracing the you. And so sometimes I think we may use these artificial patches of a heritage that's something like you, but it's not you. Out of the whole video, though, that he did, he said two things that I thought was very, very powerful. And that was this. The first one he said was, we must connect with others who remind us of whom we are. Now that is a powerful statement. But I in my ears when I hear this, I would assume that that would mean to start associating with people who are from your culture, from your heritage, from your parents' the nation that you come out from. He knows where his people are from. It's not like myself. I don't know where my African heritage is from. But yes, I do come from a Caribbean background. And yes, those people living in the Caribbean, yes, they come from Africa of some part. Usually West Africa or Central Africa. Okay? But you don't know what nation. We don't know. We don't know um, what tribe or anything like that. But you have a general location if you take a DNA test, which I did. But he doesn't do that again. So I didn't understand why he says to connect with others who remind us of whom we are. So unless who he is associating with. Now, the person that he did connect with is an Asian woman, a beautiful Asian woman, and nothing wrong with Asian or European or indigenous people of the Americas. Okay? All nationalities are good. That's where my problem is with this video. He's saying a very true and profound statement. So is this again another denial that he has? Is who he thinks he's connecting with really bringing out who he is? So that it's a question. And then the other statement that was very true is to let love and not fear guide us. So again, that's a very powerful, powerful statement. Let love and not fear. But we shouldn't let denial guide us either. And I feel that he's not really showing his self-love in this video because it's never acknowledging who he really is. Yes, you can say in the spiritual sense that he is love, that we all love energy, yes. But it's not because, see, we are social beings. And that social aspect of who he is, the nation that he comes from. And I doubt him as an African man, a dark-skinned African man. And no, I doubt he's biracial. Okay? And you're living amongst white people and white men. It's always going to be put in your face. You will always would be reminded. Just like I am reminded who I am in contrast. It's always in contrast who you are around. And so if you are around people who historically have done things against you to oppress you, and you are an African male, a dark-skinned black African male, you're going to be reminded of that aspect of you, but it's never addressed. And I noticed that it's not addressed in his other videos about who he is. And initially, like when you peruse around his channel, he did start off in a very Afrocentricness in one aspect. He does include in his thumbnails, his YouTube thumbnail pictures, some black people. But as time went on, and as he got more and more popular on YouTube, he seems to show less and less that black element. And I think that's my real issue with his channel and with really receiving some of the gems that he does share. Again, a lot of the stuff he mentions is very true and very spiritual. But it's that particular part that I feel that is problematic, one of self-denial. And again, why self-denial bothers me is because that's what I come out from. I come out of self-denial of who I am. I wanted to associate at one time with anything non-black, non-African, every aspect of me. But I could no longer deny that heritage. And so life showed me. Life was telling me, stop running away from yourself. Start embracing yourself. And this goes with any nationality, any tribe, any origins. Running away from yourself is never the answer. And as time goes on and on in your life, it seems like the more you deny yourself, the more that you deny your black heritage, it seems like in the what they call the Western world, the more you're rewarded. And that's also why I'm sharing this video, because I feel it's a type of social engineering. It's like saying, like, I feel like this social media is teaching, the more you ignore your black heritage or black-centered topics, the more you're rewarded. You get a nice girlfriend, black men, from outside of your group. You'll be rewarded that. You're rewarded with more money. Hey, don't talk about the problems that happen in the black community where you're living in Europe or in the United States. Don't talk about it. Make everything seem like it's perfect, like all spirituality, but deny what's happening amongst you. And I can't take that. And there's another YouTuber, again, I like his content in general, but it's like, okay, he has, and again, I'm not going to mention the channel name, but but part of his name is about his black race. And the content is very good. And now he's getting real popular. His channel has grown tremendously in a year. And at one time they even took away his channel, and then he had to re-establish his channel. So he lost all his viewers. And then he had to start off from scratch. But now that he's really on fire now he doesn't use the name of his race. And now he just used acronyms for his channel. And so again, it's the same type of thing. The same thing that with a black channel, I don't want to say black channel, but a black man or black person who initially uses in his channel name or topics that have a black theme to it. And then when you get popular, it's like again covering your heritage, covering your beginnings, and that you're throwing it away in the garbage. And it's this central theme is what's bothering me, and I don't like it. I don't like the what how I internalize to um, cover your beginnings. Now, again, as time goes on in life, life in general, regardless of your race or nationality or any origins, you never stay the same. Okay, it's like you have an infant. When the infant turns, let's say, 5 years old, he's not going to be wearing, or he or she's not going to wear the same clothes. So it's foolish of me to think you're going to stay the same. No, there is progress. There is growth. It's the enhancement of your origins. But that's not what I'm talking about. I feel that it's an obscurification of your origins, or say, okay, I needed you to get here, but now that I've arrived, I don't have to make mention of that anymore. That's what I'm getting at with doing this video. And I don't want this. I don't want this. Why do we have to change this way? Why do we have to marry outside of our group when we acquire fame and money or popularity? I want to know why. Why can't we stay within our own group? Why can't we move our group with us on the journey? Instead, I feel that we're left behind. And it's a horrible feeling. It is a horrible, horrible feeling. I want growth for all of us, all you YouTubers, regardless of our national origins. But I feel being true. Be true of who you are. Don't try to hide it by just not talking about it, because I'm sure it is affecting you outside of the social media world. When we leave social media, when we physically leave our house and we go outside to the world, they're not going to know who we are, that we're YouTubers or Instagrammers, or tweeters. We're just regular people. And in this regular life, we encounter life. We encounter the biases. We encounter all these things. And it's never mentioned. And it's that type of what I feel hiding the fact, or almost like living in la la land. Or maybe I have it all wrong. Maybe this person is totally balanced and totally free of biasness or something. That's all that I'm saying. So whatever what is the true reality of these people, only they know what they truly encounter in life. If it is peaches and cream, I hope they can really teach us all how to acquire that, because I haven't acquired that peaches and cream life. When I go outside, I see the pain and suffering in the community that I live in. And now it's not just the black people that are suffering. I now see even white people suffering on the streets. Things that I didn't even really know existed. But I'm seeing it firsthand that people are hurting. And the hurt is now expanding even outside of the black community. It is now in mainstream white communities in America. That's the United States of America that I'm referring to. So again, I say this, I do this video in love, but one that is questioning, one that is trying to understand why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing in my heart. So I wish you all well in social media world. I wish us all the spirituality that I'm seeking for myself. Yes, each one teach one. Teach us how to acquire this beautiful utopia world. Take care, guys. Signing out.